Have you ever felt like you're losing your sense of self in the relationship? Like you don't actually know who you are or what's actually going on? Do you ever find yourself walking on eggshells in this relationship with this other person, being like, I don't know what I'm allowed to say or what I'm not allowed to say? And it constantly leaves you feeling like overwhelmed. Maybe you've wondered how narcissists are able to manipulate people and actually take charge of another person's life. Today, I want to actually talk to you about three different things when we talk about narcissists and what they use to be able to manipulate you. And that's confusion, chaos, and control. Some of the reasons why I know this is because I am a self-aware narcissist. A lot of the tactics and a lot of the things that I've used in my past to be able to manipulate and control other people all happen through this same way. Through the same way to be able to put people in a state of confusion, create a state of chaos with the purpose of controlling another person. So ultimately, I looked good. This is what I did in relationships. This is what I did in my marriage. This is what I did in affairs. The reason why I'm on this platform is to help bring awareness about narcissism, narcissistic abuse, and how it is so destructive to the people that are out there, how it destroys relationships, friendships, coworkers, businesses, a lot of different things out there. And a lot of times people don't realize what it actually is or what it looks like in real life, which is why we're here. If you want to know more about this and actually how to break free from a narcissist, from the addiction to one, from a trauma bond, go to rawmotivations.com and sign up, because that is the way we actually help people break free from the pain that you're in. So when we talk about the actual pain that you're in, narcissists create this. They develop this. Narcissists are skilled manipulators that use a variety of tactics to control another person. I've used multiple different tactics. So when you look at the DSM-5 and the 9 characteristics of narcissists, I match them all because of what I have done, of how I have done things to other people to get what I want or to hide the person that I was. In this video, I want to focus on 3 specific techniques and 3 specific ways that narcissists are actually moving through to be able to make sure they're controlling you, creating the confusion, developing the chaos, and establishing control over you. I'm going to explain how the tactics works and provide examples of how they might actually appear in your relationship. So when we talk about this first aspect of confusion, narcissists oftentimes create confusion by trying to keep you in a fog. Now, when we talk about a fog, a lot of times we're referring to fear, to obligation, and to guilt. The fear is something that keeps you in the relationship. Like you're afraid to leave. Sometimes you're afraid of your physical safety. Sometimes you're afraid of your mental safety and emotional support. You're afraid of how is this actually going to work when I leave or when I walk away? Will he get better? Will he change? Or there's this aspect of like, will he actually go to the next person and change for them when he could have done that for me? You also feel this sense of obligation. We've been through so much. We've gone through so much. We've had so many traumatic things happen to us. Did you actually have traumatic things happen to both of you? Or did he put you through traumatic stuff? Because that's typically what happens, but people confuse it and feel like they're obligated to stick with this person in case they change, in case they get better, or because they've already invested so much. And then you typically have the guilt that actually locks you into the relationship, making you feel like I can't leave. You feel guilty because you've been with them for so long and you haven't left. Or you feel guilty that you should have left and you know that you should have, but you haven't made those moves and now you feel like you can't. All these things actually lead you and guide you into this aspect of a fog where you stay locked. You stay in the relationship and you're not sure how to get out. Narcissists oftentimes create this confusion. I would create this confusion sometimes by word salad, by talking around in circles over and over and over until the other person that I was with got worn down. Like they're no longer trying to try to push back on the argument or the thing they're trying to hold me accountable because it wasn't even worth it anymore. I'd already pushed it down so much that it didn't even make sense. Sometimes I would do that with gaslighting, with trying to make another person believe an alternate version of reality. And you see, with gaslighting, it's not just the aspect of lying, it's going a step farther. Not just lying, but then questioning the other person's reality of like, are you sure you actually saw that? Like, that seems a little crazy you'd see that. I think you might be imagining stuff. You might actually want to get your eyesight checked out because I don't think you saw what you think you saw. There'd be many times that I would almost get caught or that something would be close to happening or getting exposed, and I would use gaslighting to make people think that their reality wasn't real. That way I could still look good, the mask could still be intact, and I could go do what I wanted to do. This, as a result, oftentimes had people that questioned that I would flip around and then they would defend me to other people saying like, no, he talked to me about that. He's not doing that. He's not cheating. He's not lying. When in reality, I was. A lot of times a narcissist will create confusion in your mind by changing their stance, like switching. Like, I'm talking to you this way, now I'm talking to you this way. Like, almost playing devil's advocate, and then you never actually know what they actually believe or what's going on. You see this with contradicting statements of like, wait a second, you just said this, but you did this. And all of a sudden you develop cognitive dissonance that locks you in. And oftentimes makes you feel crazy. If you're watching this today and you're like, I feel crazy, like I'm not sure what to do, just leave a comment down below, because there's more people than what you realize that actually feel crazy being in a narcissistic relationship. Narcissists will make you doubt your memory. You didn't remember something correctly. It'll doubt your perception, and it'll doubt your judgment about things and about situations, your feelings, your experiences, and the facts. So I need you to understand, like you might be with someone, like let's say you're with someone and he changes his mind constantly. Changes his mind about plans multiple times and leaves you completely confused, unsure of what's actually going on. So you're like, I don't even know what to do. Then he goes back and he actually denies that he actually did that he changed his mind. And like the previous statements or even deny like what you actually remember. Your reality isn't real. There's an aspect of gaslighting. Did that happen to you? Is that happening to you? You're dealing with narcissistic abuse. You're dealing with someone who's trying to manipulate you to be in control. Well, narcissists also do this with number 2, establishing chaos. Narcissists thrive on chaos. Sometimes people ask me like, why would a toxic person, a narcissist, stay in a relationship when it seems so awful, when it seems chaos? And the easiest way to be able to explain it is because a narcissist controls the chaos. In the middle of all the shit falling down and all the bad things happening, there is still an aspect that I clung to being like, well, at least I'm still in control. Because at the end of the day, that's all that mattered. It didn't matter about anything else. It just mattered that I was the one creating the chaos, so therefore I was the one in control of it. When you think of the aspect of like a tornado, you think of a tornado as it swirls around, or a hurricane. Inside the center of the hurricane or the tornado is the eye of the storm. At the eye of the storm, it's been known that it's a lot more peaceful. It's a lot more calm because everything else is swirling around. Once you consider that this is the exact place that the narcissist stands, in the middle of it, making themselves feel better of the destruction that they're actually causing around them. But it doesn't affect them because they're putting that destruction outward. They're not actually caring about the destruction they're causing in other people's lives. All they care about is in this moment, I don't feel bad. In this moment, I'm not in the middle of the storm, so I don't really have to worry about it. Narcissists oftentimes create chaos through unpredictable behavior. Like, I'm going to do this, now I'm going to do this, changing stuff up, not having any boundaries. Like, no matter what boundaries you set, he just seems to blow through them and doesn't seem to care. These emotional outbursts of all of a sudden getting frustrated, raging out, whatever it might be, using these different things to offset you, to get you off kilter, be like, I don't know. And they use chaos as a way to keep you off balance and dependent on you for stability and for support. Think of it this way. You might have a narcissistic partner that might start an argument over something like really, really small. And all of a sudden it gets blown out of proportion. Like completely blown out of proportion. You're just like, I don't even know what happened. Leading to this emotionally like giant charged situation. This is going to create chaos by breaking your stuff, by threatening you, by creating drama in like a social situation. Like ultimately it's like, hey, I'm going to do whatever I can to distract you from the actual thing that's going on. Oftentimes you'll see chaos evolve around birthdays or holidays or special events that never seem to be very special in and after the moment because of what the narcissist did in your life. They created this aspect of chaos to get the attention back on them. Sometimes you'll see that when you get sick, like it needs to be back on me. Like the attention needs to come back to the narcissist. Which leads us to the third aspect is control. Narcissists seek to have control over you. Over your thoughts, over your emotions, over your behavior. Now, it's important to be able to understand. Sometimes it's just, I want control over you, period. Okay? The other aspect is I want control over my mask, of how I actually look, of how I appear to society in the world. And as a result, I got to control you. Okay? A lot of times it still goes back to self-serving of not just, I have a power dynamic. No, I have an image dynamic that as a result results in a power dynamic over you to prop up my image. Okay? So it kind of goes back and forth a little bit. Oftentimes, like gaslighting, manipulation, isolating you, making sure that you don't have friends and family that you can interact with or other people in your life that are actually going to speak truth to you. But instead, it's like, I need to be able to control and manipulate you. Are you in this place where you're dealing with the confusion, you're dealing with the chaos, you're dealing with someone controlling your every move? Maybe where you can go, maybe what you can do, maybe who you can see, all without saying you can't do it. That's the crazy part, right? Like, that's the part that you feel insane because you're like, well, he's never told me I can't do this, but you know that if you do, you'll be in trouble. You know, if you do, all hell might break loose and you'll be dealing with the rage of someone who didn't get their way. This is the part that makes it feel so crazy because you're like, this doesn't seem to be anything wrong. Like, there doesn't seem to be wrong with it. But oftentimes you'll find yourself modifying who you are because the narcissist will control how you dress, who you spend time with, what you're allowed to say in conversations. They're going to use guilt and shame to be able to put it on you to emotionally manipulate you to do what they want you to do. There was an aspect in one of my relationships. There was a certain outfit, a certain design that I didn't like. And I made that known. And then when the one person came out with that certain outfit on, it wasn't that I ever told her, oh, that looks ugly, that looks awful, go change, anything like that. But she could tell by my energy. She could tell by how I responded. She could tell by the lackluster response in what she was wearing and how she looked to make sure that I was getting what I wanted. As a result, she ended up going and actually changing clothes because she knew she wasn't meeting the standard that I had set. So it was this manipulation piece of like, hey, you're not actually meeting what I actually want. So if I'm like, can I pull back? Kind of be a little bit cold. And as a result, she changed. Like, that's how a narcissist will actually walk you through you changing and you being under their control. If you're under their control today, if you're under narcissistic control today, go to rawmotivations.com and sign up for the 7-day challenge. It's $7. We've reduced it so much to try to be able to just get it to as many people as possible so that you can start to get free mentally and emotionally from a narcissist. It's going to talk about narcissistic abuse, reactive abuse. Are you a narcissist? What is narcissism? The hard truths you need to hear. Like, a bunch of stuff is packed into these 7 days to be able to help get you clarity and to help move you forward in your healing, growth, and development. So check it out, rawmotivations.com.